Hey everybody, we are continuing our series on aggressive versus assertive behavior and how can assertion morph into being called aggressive. Now remember that this is not just a gender issue. Men and women are equally called aggressive versus assertive, and good body language is universal regardless of your sex. But the one that we're going to talk about today sometimes is something that women need to hear a little bit more than men, because men tend to take up more space naturally. And taking up space is one way to be assertive. If you remember my Air in Your Pits video from in 2019 that had so many views because of the title, I suppose, Air in Your Pits. But that is a strategy to think about. When you are standing with really great posture, you want to take up just a little bit more space. It just is keeping your elbows unattached from your sides as you are gesturing. This is part of that taking up space. And men generally are larger than women and take up more space. And over time, they have been encouraged to take up more space. We have all of the alpha male nonverbals of years past, of leaning back in the chair with the hands behind the head, or that man spread that you hear people talk about when they're sitting on public transportation, so all of those things, men generally are taught over time to take up more space. Women, however, it's the opposite. We've been taught to be demure and small and keep our arms crossed and our legs crossed, all of those sorts of things. But when it comes to confident and visionary leadership, where you need to be assertive, we need to take up a little bit more space. Remember shoulder pads of old ladies? Those ginormous shoulder pads in those boxy jackets of the power suits from the 90s and the 80s, those were helping us take up more space. Now we don't have that, so we have to still remember to do that as an individual. Now, why this could become aggressive versus assertive is doing too much too soon. Now, we know that the man spread and the kind of this super power pose that we've been taught can come across as aggressive because it's taking up so much more space than perhaps we do on a day-to-day basis. As you start to transform your nonverbal signals into more confident and visionary leadership signals, you will need to start with some air in your pits and gradually take up more space with your gesturing. If you naturally tend to be pretty small in your gestures and keep everything close to the body, male or female, and suddenly, because you've been taught or you saw a video where I said, take up more space, you suddenly go into a meeting and you're taking up all sorts of space and you are being very, what most people would consider aggressive with your behavior. The reason it's taking on that aggressive edge is because it's so different from your norm. Somebody who naturally has a more assertive carriage and takes up more space and has a bolder, deeper, more powerful voice, they're going to come out, their baseline is already more assertive than yours or mine might be. And so we have to build up into that confident, visionary, assertive executive leadership style. So the cautionary tale here is just taking things too fast too soon. If you tend to be a smaller mover, do things gradually. That way people won't see it as aggressive. They will just notice, oh, look at that great posture. Oh, Alison's coming in with some bigger, bolder, better ideas today. And it's being reflected in my nonverbal behavior. Okay, everybody, I want you to go forth and be visionary. I want you to have assertive body language that comes with the confidence and not the negative connotations of being aggressive. I'm Alison Henderson. This is Moving Image Consulting, and we are teaching confident and visionary leadership.